Hello, Pretty Casual Gaming. It is TehNoobcake here, as always, and with me this week is Slanderman.
Hello, everyone.
Firstly, Logix is not with us this week. He has real life reasons why he can't be with us, along with personal reasons why he just doesn't have out to add to the podcast anyway. So he won't be here for this week, but he'll be back with us again, maybe on our next podcast. The topic is talking about games. Me and Sandy intend to talk about games that we're interested in that are coming up, and we have looked forward to and what we think of them. Really, we will both apologise if we're not to the full energy that we would be in a previous podcast. Slenderman's not feeling well, and I'm not feeling great myself, so we're a little low energy this week. Um, so to get started, I would like to talk about a game that we don't have a release date yet for. We don't know a massive a lot about it, but it's definitely a game that I'm personally looking greatly forward to. Although I will be honest, out of all of the ones on my list of games that I'm looking forward to, this is the one I'm most cautiously looking forward to. And that would be Diablo 4. And the reason for that is because I love Diablo 3. It is actually, to me, what I consider one of the best looter titles there is. But Blizzard obviously recently have been known for not being at the top of their game. I think we can both agree to that, don't you, Sunday?
Yeah,
And
we
so,
can.
Diablo 4 is definitely a game that I am really looking forward to because I'm hoping to have that Diablo 3 experience again, especially with friends. I'd love to. Um, One of the things I really want for the game is cross-platform. Um, I want that with all games these days, but I just feel like it would really help the game to have it cross-platform.
I think
Um,
with more or less all co-op games nowadays, I would agree should have some sort of crossplay, um, because it brings everyone together, the community and people and stuff, to play together with the games they love,
there's
like
just
and everything.
there's just little reason at this point in time and in gaming to not have cross-platform on anything.
Yeah,
Like we know it's doable. We see it in games all the time now. It's just people not adding it for reasons one or another, and it just seems a shame. Especially because I'd love for us to do a pretty casual gaming Diablo run, me, you, and Logix perhaps, and then stream it with all three of us live to the
yeah.
channel. I think that'd be really great. Also, hello, Willow Wraith. Um,
Hello.
Obviously, we've seen trailers. One of the things that really grabbed my attention with Diablo 4 is the character customization. We've seen that they have character customization, and that is pretty hype because we didn't have that prior in Diablo 3 and that lot. Because obviously you pick your class and then you pick whether you're male or female,
Yeah,
and that's the extent of it. Like obviously you get customization in the sense of what armor you wear and transmog and stuff like that, but you didn't actually have visual customization. I know a lot of people aren't that fussed about it because of the way it's the whole isometric kind of view. But for me, it's still pretty hype, pretty pog. I don't know if you're looking forward to that at all, Sandy. It seems like the type of game you'd be into.
yeah. I'm looking forward to Diablo 4 as well as uh the remake they're doing of this second game as well. So um,
Uh,
oh
Ironically, I'm not that fussed about the second game remake because I was never a big fan of Diablo 2. I love
yeah,
Diablo 1, I love Diablo 3, but I was just like, meh, with Diablo 2.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I did play a lot of Diablo 2 in the past and a little Diablo 3. Been playing more Diablo 3 the past few years than I did at launch. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I am also looking forward to the fourth game whenever it's being released.
Yeah, that would definitely be something that would be nice for them as a release date, or like
Yeah,
at least an estimate of like what year we can expect it.
yeah.
Because Diablo 3, I think, came out. I want to say 2013 ish. Let me just quickly Google that because I don't want to sound like a fucking moron when I realize when it was actually released. Right. Oh no, it was 2012. So it's almost 10 years since we had a mainline Diablo game, and we're still waiting, and we still haven't got a clue. So if it comes out next year, that's 10 years in the waiting for Diablo 4. And obviously, I think the biggest problem is the fact that they did the whole the meme of "Don't you guys have phones?"
Oh yeah, with
Good
Diablo
old
Immortal.
Diablo Immortal. I
Yeah.
remember watching that year's that I went off. That was actually around the time where I went off Blizzard, more specifically off World of Warcraft. So that's when I started to push away from Blizzard. But then obviously they did the whole news of there might be Diablo news at BlizzCon, and so I got a friend to get me a ticket for my birthday for the virtual BlizzCon, and I tuned in, being like, "Oh, can get my Diablo on." No, Diablo Immortal. I was like, "You motherfucker!" I think that was the year Ash came to Overwatch, and I think that was the most interesting thing that happened in that BlizzCon. Which
Yeah. I think that BlizzCon they announced Logix 3 Reforged as well, which didn't turn out pretty good, sadly.
didn't you play that on stream as well?
I did. I I do like it and everything, but but it does miss a few, not a few, a lot of the features from the original game, and how they actually made the old client being forced into the new one as well, which was a bit meh when there was so lot missing in the game. So
One of my favorite things about it was the any maps or game modes that you create in this game are property of Blizzard.
yeah,
Because obviously the whole MOBA genre of gaming came from Warcraft 3 custom maps.
yeah,
So they wanted to cover their ass before we got another Dota situation again, which I thought was really hilarious.
so
Um,
yeah.
One of the things I'm interested to see in Diablo 4 is that they're bringing the Druid class back, which is probably going to be pretty hype.
Uh, if they don't bring the necromancer back, I think the druid will be my main, as it was in
Of
Diablo 2.
course, of course, he won Necromancer.
I do.
What a big shocker! Hey, but if they don't bring it back to Diablo 4, you can play Reef from Final Fantasy 14, so you're set either way.
Yes.
uh, we don't really have too much information about Diablo 4, but I can say that we can sit here and talk about that for a decent enough period of time to make it happen. So I would like to move on to the next one on my list, which would be obviously one we've talked about before in this, which is my Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Yes.
Now, that's a game that I actually don't know too much about, and I will be honest, I'm kind of like avoiding looking up too much about it, mainly because I want it to be kind of a surprise to me, especially when that's a game I intend to stream,
Yeah.
the live stream, and I with that I intend to be live streaming it day one, so there'll be no wait for that. I intend to get that downloaded onto my PlayStation on the pre-order, which means I can download it like 2-3 days beforehand, and then the moment that drops, well, maybe not the moment because fuck streaming at midnight, but after I've had some sleep, then wake up, then I'll be streaming that straight away. Graphically that looks really interesting because the art style is very like Pixar, like the old princess movies from Pixar kind of thing. And combat wise, it reminds me a lot of like a Zelda game, but on
Ooh.
other consoles, which is curious because I usually don't like Zelda. So for me to actually be interested in something that looks combat wise sort of the
Now,
same kind of thing.
now you cut my mind a bit more because I love the old Zelda games.
But yeah, I can't really like say the full extent of how much it looks like Zelda because I haven't played enough
uh,
to be the English is escaping me to be
yeah.
the you know what I mean. I can't be the person who says this looks like Zelda because I haven't played enough Zelda to be
Uh,
that.
but I think I do. I do know what you mean. You when you see something, you have some games you like look at and think they look so a bit alike in terms of combat and stuff. At the first place, so
Well, it looks to be a narrative type game, which is always good for me. I always love a good story. So,
hello,
um,
Logic.
I don't really have a lot to say on like as much as I intend to stream it. Everyone can expect that. That is going to be my series after Haven's finished. Well, obviously not immediately after because I have to wait for it to actually
Yeah.
release, which is at the end of August. It's August the I want to say 27th, but yet again, I'm going to be that guy who quickly uses his Google 24th. It's 24th.
Hmm.
Yeah, so 24th of August is when that's the day I'll be streaming it. That is a game I'm looking forward to. That's probably like one of the games that I've looked most forward to this year out of any game I'm looking forward to, which is really weird because you'd think it'd be Final Fantasy. And Endwalker, yes, obviously. But like that Endwalker is like a given. Like I was obviously gonna want that.
Yeah.
Whereas Kenna is the first game that isn't a Final Fantasy that I've actually been like really excited for in a long time. And it's one of the first games where I have like spoiled myself because of that reason. So let's see. Next on the list is Battlefield 2042, which I
Oh.
believe was on both of our lists.
Yes, it was. It
And
was.
one of the first things I want to say about that I'm really happy about is it is cross-platform, which
It
means
is.
me and you will be able to play together. And that's something
Yeah.
else I wanted to stream, not in the sense of a series like I will be doing with obviously Kenner and as I have been doing with Haven or my Endwalker
Yeah.
stuff, but I'm looking forward to being able to just stream some pretty
Multi.
casual multiplayer.
Yeah.
um, that's one that's actually surprised me this year because I've not been a big fan of Battlefield. I used to love Battlefield. Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are some of my favorite games.
They are pretty
Uh,
good. They are pretty good.
and then Battlefield 1 came about, and I pre ordered that, as I always do with most games that I'm looking forward to. And they took away the gun customization, and it ruined it for me. Like the whole thing I always praised Battlefield 4 over was the amount of gun customization in comparison to something like Call of Duty. And now it's the other way around. Like Call of Duty Cold War has such a good gun customization,
It
and then
does.
Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 felt like such a step backwards from what we used to have.
Yeah.
But 2042 looks really good in the fact that the gun customization is kind of back. I don't know exactly how it plays out right now, whether it's like Battlefield 4 where you had all the stuff. But obviously you can change your attachments on the moves, which
Yeah.
is really interesting to
I
me.
think the biggest problem with when they was going to release Battlefield 1 and 5 was that a lot of the weapons are iconic weapons from the First World War and Second World War, and I think that kind of limit them with the gun customizations. They, in sense that in sense of that all the gadgets the weapon has, and they didn't want to like put something like something completely out of out of existence on them. So I think that is what made them go with that customization way. Even if I disliked it pretty much as well, but I did enjoy the gameplay apart from that in both games. So
there were you had like gun customization back then, like obviously not to the extent we have nowadays,
yeah,
but there were attachments, so it was just it was such a disappointment to me.
yeah,
But obviously,
it was very
20,
limited.
2042 looks like we're going back in the direction of gun customization, which I think is a good move.
Yeah,
One of the things that I really like about it is the fact that apparently you're able to use all weapons and equipment on any of the jobs, which means that I'll finally be able to have like a recon build, but also be using an assault rifle.
yeah,
Because I've been playing some Battlefield 4 recently in anticipation of 2042, and I, would love to be able to use my AN-94, which is a assault rifle. I'd love to use that on recon, so I have the respawn beacon as well.
yeah,
But I can't because it's locked to support, which annoys me. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
yeah. I do understand that. Can't remember what Battlefield game it was. I think it was 3. They had a separate carbine, which was basically available for all the classes.
Yeah, that's 4. You can have carbines, DMRs,
Okay, yeah,
shotguns, and all,
yeah,
but you can't have assault rifles on
yeah.
anything other than sport.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, like you said, it still limits your boxy gameplay they actually want to bring to Battlefield. So
and the maps are supposed to be really big, so that's I always love the big maps of Battlefield and
yeah,
more destructional, more destructible buildings.
yep,
Because it's always fun when you got someone sniping at you, so you just blow up the building they're hiding in,
yeah,
and it crumbles down and crushes them, and you're thinking, you couldn't take that. But that's something I'm definitely looking forward to try and getting some friends into and having a little few squads of friends and
yep.
kicking some ass.
I know I will be getting it at launch as well. So
I don't know if I'll be able to afford it at launch just because of what else. And also, I don't know. I think the launch is like October-ish time, which means
yeah,
it comes out at a really bad time for me,
yeah,
given that obviously Endwalker is just around the corner from that. So we'll have to see when I actually get it. But it's something. Battlefield has a longer lifespan than Call of Duty, so it won't
yeah.
be done within a year, thankfully.
Um,
Um, the next one on the list for me is Back for Blood. Now, this is another game that I've not seen an awful too much about, but it fills a void of game genre that I've kind of missed, which is the Left 4 Dead games, which was obviously a zombies type game, hordish type zombies, just get to point A to point B, but it's kind of just like tons of freaking zombies and it's just hell. And
yeah,
it's a good little co-op game that you can just take the piss with. Um, it's another game that I don't know if I'd get it on launch purely because of money reasons.
yeah.
Um,
Same with me. I'm not sure if I will get it at launch, but it's definitely a game I'm going to get in the future. Um, I did love the old Left 4 Dead games as well, so it was a lot of fun with a few friends and
well,
just
hopefully we'll get lucky and it'll be cross-platform.
I think they said it would be cross-platform, but I'm not completely sure. Precisely below. um, but yeah, also like you said, it 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 is the developers from Left 4 Dead as well working on Back 4 Blood as well. So
Yeah, I just googled it. Apparently, Back for Blood in the beta has intention to be cross-platform and cross-generation. So hopefully that means that they'll support it, and they intend to try to support it in the full release. So that'd be really cool, and that'd be something else that we could. That means something that we could. There's another thing we could stream at some point,
yeah,
maybe. it's just more having more options. Like especially like recently, like looking at my game library on PlayStation, I've just looked through a ton of games and I'm like, I don't really have much that's like multiplayer or co-op that I can just sit and chill with my mates for a bit on. Like a lot of it's either like competitive or just not something I'd play with people. Um, it's not again. I haven't seen too much, but it looks typically Left for Dead, if you get what I mean. Like it definitely looks like it's
Yeah,
that alley.
I have seen a little bit about it, but like not too much. And what I've seen is like it is Left 4 Dead with modern things in it, like aim down the crosshair and stuff. Oh, not aim down the crosshair, the iron sight and stuff. So, but yeah, it does look pretty cool.
I as Will always pointed out, the best part of Left 4 Dead is killing zombies with a frying pan. I do wonder if there'll be that kind of like silly level of killing items on Back for Blood. I'm hoping so.
I think we will. I think we will.
Right, the next one that I've written on our list of games that I wanted to go through is actually a really weird one. In that I'm actually not looking forward to this because of the game that it is coming out, and that's Samurai Warriors 5, which is obviously made by the people who do Dynasty Warriors as well. Now, I'm not actually a big fan of mainline Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors. What I am a fan of is the Empires versions of the game that they usually release a year or so afterwards. And so I am looking forward to Samurai Warriors 5 because we haven't seen anything of these people since Dynasty Warriors 9. And that was a complete shit show.
Yeah.
And we didn't ever get an Empires for that. So to see Samurai Warriors 5, I'm hoping that will do well and then they'll release an Empires. So what I'm actually looking forward to is Samurai Warriors Empires. It's not a confirmation that there is going to be that game because obviously, as I say, Samurai Warriors 5 is going to have to do really well first. But it's just made me happy to see that they're back on the horse kind of deal. And it's given me hope that we'll get an Empires game because I really love the Empires game. So is it that? There's not too much more to talk about on that because obviously, as I say, it's a game that I actually don't know confirmed if it exists or not yet.
Yeah.
Not the Samurai Warriors 5, but the Empires version.
Yeah. I honestly can't say too much about it. I do know they made the Hyrule Warriors games for the Nintendo versions of the Zelda universe, and I played the first ones, and I actually did like them. So, but I haven't played like Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, so I can't go into depth at all with those games.
Just
Sadly.
imagine Hyrule Warriors, but it's not shitty Zelda. um, I'm gonna skip over these three that are next in my list just because it's so typical that I'm going to talk about them that I'm going to save them for last. The next in my list is Tales of Arise, which is part of the Tales of series. Now, this is a series that I actually have a really weird relationship with because the first Tales of game I actually played was Tales of Grace's F, and that was back on the PlayStation 3. It was like one of the only games I actually played on the PlayStation 3 before realizing the PlayStation 3 was an absolute pile of garbage and bought myself an Xbox 360 instead. The first PlayStation generation where I've not stayed on PlayStation. But I loved to, like, this was during the years where I was like addicted to WoW. Like from the moment I fucking woke up to the moment I went to bed, I'd be on World of Warcraft, with the exception of eating, needing a toilet, and going to school. I was on World of Warcraft all day. And I can't even remember how. I believe it was back when Blockbuster was still in business. Like, this is years ago, and we just randomly got it mailed through the letterbox. It was like it wasn't a demo, but it was like the full game. But it was meant to be like a loaned, trial game. Like here,
Yeah.
try this for Blockbuster, and then you might want to do Blockbuster more. And I never asked for it back. So I just had this game, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try, because I didn't open it at first, and then they never asked for it back, so I just was like, I'll give it a shot and see how it plays. Um, and this got me off World of Warcraft for like a month. I was like enthralled by the story. It holds a place in like my top 5 games of all time, which is saying a lot, because obviously that most spots in my fucking top, like if I had to make a top 50 list, most of it would just be Final Fantasy. And
Final
so
Fantasy 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6.
so this was a really big deal for me. Like, it got me off World of Warcraft. It ended up in like my top 5 games of all time. Tales of Grace Death was a really good game, and then I moved on to Xbox 360, obviously, and I found out there was a Tales of game for that. So I was like, oh, great, I'll get that. I really enjoyed the other one. And one of the things I should note is that Tales of Grace's F is actually considered one of the worst by the people, by like the general Tales of community. I thought it was amazing. I don't know what they're on about. And so I played the one next, what a lot of people consider the best, which is it was an Xbox 360 game called Tales of Vesperia. Is it Vesperia? Yeah, I think it's Vesperia. And it is one of the worst fucking games I've ever played in my life. And this is the one that everyone considers in the Tales of series to be one of the best. It played like fucking garbage. I literally could not get the battle system down so much that it's the first game I've ever had to just put it onto auto battle. So it did the fucking battle for me. Like, the controls were garbage. The story was uninteresting, and like nothing major actually happened until like the last hour of the game. It was just like, why does this game why is it people think this is the best game? And so that put me off Tales of for a while. And then on the PS4, I can't remember if I like went out my way of it or something, but I got Tales of Zestiria. Now, I played about half of that and then just forgot it existed and didn't finish it. And then my housemate got Tales of Berseria, and I did the same thing. I played about half of it and forgot it existed. A lot of this comes down to pretty much my MMO addiction, in that a lot of the time back then, I was still like, I'd buy a game, play it for like 10 minutes, and then be like, oh, I need to go and Final Fantasy 14 now. And then just, or World of Warcraft. And then just, I came off like, it was in a time where I was really bad at playing games outside of my MMO circle. Um, so looking at its Tales of Arise, like, it looks really good. Like, it looks much more modern, and the battle system looks more like a battle system that I can get behind, which is a more fluid Grace's F style battle system. And so it's a game that it's another one of these ones where I don't think I'll buy it immediately, purely because money issues and timing issues and stuff like that. But it's a game that I've been looking forward to, in a sense of it might finally get me to give Tales of a proper go again. Because,
Yeah.
as I say, Grace's F was such a fun game for me, but I just haven't managed to recapture that. It could just be that that it was a one-time thing, and that I never will really get back into Tales of, and it was just that one game really enticed me. But it's something I'm wanting to try again to see if I can get back into the series. I'm assuming you have nothing to add on that game.
No, I actually haven't seen it or tried it. So, but it might be
Well,
something I look into.
my next one is quite a funny one, actually. And it's another one that I can't really give too much info on, because I've a lot of my games is stuff I've seen, and I've seen like a trailer or two and got really excited, or like, when I say really excited, I usually mean like it's piqued my interest a lot more than anything else would. It's very rare something really excites me, except for the rare few that I'm probably going to leave till last. Um, and it's a game called Hot Wheels Unleashed, and I don't know why. It just is something that interested me. I saw a trailer of it, and like, I remember I used to play Hot Wheels games back on the PS2, and I thought they were like the best racing things ever. This was before I played like Need for Speed Underground or Underground 2. So my opinion of racing games is very small. The only racing game I'd really played before was Formula One back on the PS1, and that was terrible because I was a kid and couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand stuff like, oh, you need to take care of your tires, you need to be careful of weather conditions. So I just was, my racing games was not a big thing for me, and then I played Hot Wheels, and it was great. Um, one of the things that interests me about this Unleashed is it looks like you can kind of like design the racetracks, which is really cool. And I'm hoping you can design your cars as well. Again, I haven't really looked too much into it, which is something I should probably do before I start talking about games in podcasts. But I'm awful at planning stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a couple of things here that I'm going to be able to talk about, and you're going to wish I would shut the fuck up. And they're on our list, and we're just not getting around to them yet. But a lot of these games, yeah, I just kind of have seen, and they've piqued my interest enough that it's like this year has definitely been a really good game for a really good game, a really good year for gaming announcements. Other than the three that I'm going to talk about afterwards, that's pretty much my list thus far of stuff I'm kind of excited about. There's other games that I'm kind of looking at, but nothing that's interested myself enough that I'd really care to talk about it. But I know Slandy has a few that he would like to talk about,
Yes.
so I will let you go ahead with them.
The first one I'm gonna talk about is Aliens Fireteam Elite. If you know of Aliens, it is these monsters, xenomorphs, and the game is three person co-op. So I don't think the game is going to have crossplay, sadly, but it is like a 3-person co-op game in the Alien universe, and you will get to shoot a lot of xenomorphs. So I hope it will be a pretty fun. I watched some trailers and a little gameplay. And why do you have a finger up? Nope.
I have an opinion on this.
Oh.
I'm not too interested in the game itself, and I don't know enough about it to really slander it or speak well of it. But the one thing I can say is, please, God, don't be another Aliens Colonial Marines, because that game was shit though.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it seems to be. It does look okay. The characters animations does look a bit stiff in the trailers they released earlier this year, but it was like very much work in progress at that point. So I do hope, and they will have a few classes in the game as well to choose between.
I noticed a lot of games these days are doing the whole class or like characters with special abilities getting situated.
I think there's going to be 5 or 6. I know there's a gunner which will be like the main guy to deal a lot of damage. Then there's the engineer who will put up turrets and so on, and then the doc, of course, which is more or less the medic. Then there's the scout class, which I guess will be like sniper marksmanship. And I think there's one more I'm more or less forgetting about. But yeah, it is like the normal co-op classes you see if it's in a military shooter thing. So that is all I have for Aliens, at least. Do you have anything to add? Nope.
Not really. Only that it is. Let's hope it isn't another Colonial Marines. Who is it who is doing Fireteams Elite? Because obviously it was Gearbox who did Colonial.
Yeah. This time it's a small new. I'm not even sure if it is like completely new, but it is an indie team that has a lot of passion for the Aliens universe. It seems like so.
It's Cold Iron Studios. I just googled it.
Yeah, I don't think they have any other games released in that name. So this will be the studio's first game.
They were Cold Iron Studios was started by industry veterans who made games such as Neverwinter, Metroid Prime 3, BioShock Infinite, which will interest Logix, and City of Heroes, and many others.
Yeah. So, like I said, the trailers looks alright, and they do have the iconic sounds from the weapons in it, which I know a lot of Aliens fans do love. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, and it will be coming out next month. And it will feature some co-op campaigns as well. So, and a lot of like characters progression things. So.
And then I think your next two games are Warhammer.
Yeah, I got 2 Warhammer games coming up. I'm looking very much forward to it. First one, they haven't talked too much about. They do have a gameplay trailer out for it. It's Warhammer 40k Darktide. It is the developers on Vermintide, if you know those.
I've heard of it, but the only Warhammer games that I've played are the Warhammer 40k Space Marine game, which was back on 360. It played a little Gears of War-esque.
Um,
And then the best one, which they should hurry up and make a third game for, but haven't, Dawn of War.
Yeah, Dawn of War, totally agree on that. But yeah, like I said, the Warhammer 40k is.
One more. I played Space Hulk back on the PS1.
But yeah, like I said, it is not a lot of gameplay and things have been released on it yet. Apart from that, you can take a bit look of Vermintide and combine it with the trailers you've seen. So, apart from that, it does. If you played Vermintide, you know the Vermintide series is a bit more melee focused. Which in Darktide it seems like it would be a bit more range focused with the 40k weapons and so on. While still maintaining some of the melee as well, from what I've seen in the trailers. And the next one is
it's one I expect to see you streaming it, I guess.
Yeah, I will probably be streaming that. It is Total War Warhammer 3. What to say about it? It is an RTS game with a kind of sandboxy gameplay of it.
I actually have a question in regards to it.
Yes.
What's different between this and the second game? Because obviously it's just Total War again. Like they're all the same game. I remember playing. I've seen you play Total War Warhammer, and I used to play Shogun Total War back on an old PC, and it's the same fucking game. It's just one's got a Warhammer paint on it.
Yeah, that is true. When they actually announced the first Warhammer game, they said it would be a trilogy where if you played the first Warhammer game, you had the 4 main races: the dwarves, the vampires, the Chaos Warriors, and the Empire fighting out. And when they released the second one, they had the High Elves, the Dark Elves, and the Skavens, and the Lizard Men. And what they did is they basically made a small, not a small, a big map, actually, a big map where they combined everything from the first game and the second game. So it had the map from the first game and the second game combined into one, and all the races from both games were playable in that map. So
what you're saying is the second game was just DLC for the first game, sold as a full game.
Basically, yes.
Well, we know what game is never partnering you ever now.
Yeah. And when they announced the first game, they basically said what their plans for the entire trilogy was, that it'll be the ultimate Warhammer sandbox game where they put
the
all the races in one game.
It's going to be the ultimate Warhammer DLC.
Yeah, all Warhammer DLC. and the third game, it will features all four main Chaos Guards. So if you're into the Warhammer, you know there's Crone and I can't remember the name, and they will also have some of the what is called the races, which basically protects the entire world from the chaos. And then a bit further in, they will be releasing the next major big DLC map, which will combine the entire world with the two other games.
Is it going to be called Warhammer Total War 4?
No. That will still be Warhammer Total War 3.
They need to put this energy into making a Dawn of War 3, not fucking faffing about with whatever this is.
Actually, Dawn of War 3 is out, but let's not talk about that one because it's bad.
Dawn of War 4, then we need a Dawn of War 4. Yeah. Is there really a Dawn of War 3 and I have not known this whole time?
Yeah, it is.
Dawn of War 3 and I have not known this.
I think
Why couldn't you have told me this the first time I said this earlier on in the podcast so I don't look like a complete twat?
I think it took them like when it got released, they had a lot of plans to continue supporting the game with patches, DLCs, but after half a year, the game developers shut the game down because it got such a bad reputation. Sadly.
I think in future, before we do these podcasts, we should probably fucking research what the fuck we're on about.
Yeah.
So I don't look like a twat.
So I think that was more or less most of the games I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, now is the 3 which we knew was coming, and I'm gonna take 1 second of silence to see if Logix in chat can guess what series the 3 games I'm interested in are from. So we're waiting on you, Logix, to say something, otherwise you're gonna... Yay! Look at that! Star for Logix. So yes, I'm actually going to start with the worst of the set first. Because I'm going to go from my least interested to my fully interested. All of them, obviously, I'm interested in. But this one kind of has had a really bad meme-worthy intro to the universe. And that is Final Fantasy Origins, something of Stranger bollocks. Give me a second. Let me look for the proper name. I am apparently a penis. Oh my, yeah, Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. And yeah, it was probably the worst trailer that's ever been showed of a Final Fantasy.
Was it the chaos? We must
chaos.
Kill, yeah.
I must kill chaos. I know one thing. Chaos. And this is a Dark Souls-esque Final Fantasy game based within the lore, not the world, the lore of Final Fantasy 1. I think it's meant to be a prequel to it. And the trailer is like, if you haven't seen it after this video, go, like anyone watching, if you haven't seen it, go fucking watch the trailer. It's one of the most awful and meme-worthy 2.5 minutes of your life you will ever spend. It does not look like it's so typical. It's kind of like someone took Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 15, slapped them together and forgot to actually make it work. It's stupid. But I have actually seen gameplay from the demo that was on PS5, and the gameplay looks great. Like, it looks really fun, which was a big shocker because obviously the trailer was a complete disaster. So yeah, it's Dark Souls esque, but you still have that like Final Fantasy job system, and you can kind of power up your characters obviously, and you can get armor and stuff. So it looks good in that. I'm not a big like fan of the Dark Souls or the Soulsborne esque games as they call them. But as a Final Fantasy lover, this is one of the games that I will probably get. At first, I was wary of it because of the trailer, but now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. At first, because of the trailer, it was going to be originally, it's just going to be a game I'll buy when it's on offer because it was fucking awful. But now that I've seen gameplay, it's something that I'm still not going to buy on release because it's just not piqued my interest enough yet. But it's something that I definitely intend to get at some point down the line, be it on offer or at full price. It will be something I get. The combat looks really good. I think the story is still going to be just as cringy as the trailer made it look. So that is one thing I'm going to have to get over. But yeah, the combat looks fucking great. And I see we're getting mocked in our own chat. Yeah, we should just stop speaking sometimes, I swear. So the next game, if I'm trying to do it in order of one second, let me just try to read what Logix has put. Is it that kind of game where when you're sober you're like, what is that? And when you're really drunk you're like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, it is, because like the direction of it is by Nomura, who did the Kingdom Hearts series, and he's a fucking idiot. Like, I don't understand why Square Enix still have him hired. And I don't even. I will partner with the team business unit division 3, but he can go fuck himself. It's made by the people who make the Ninja Gaiden games and Dead or Alive. I think that's the people. It's been made by Team Ninja, I believe. Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Right. It is being published by Square Enix and developed by Team Ninja. So yeah, it's Team Ninja. Yeah, there's that. And then the next game, there's that. Let me drink. I'm gonna fucking die. Slandy, slay something funny whilst I'm drinking.
Do we do the hand puppets?
Don't tell the stream what we were doing before. Right. Yeah. So the next one is Final Fantasy 16. Now, we don't know a lot of the narrative or the how it's going to all play out and that, but the trailer alone was enough to hype me like fuck for this game. It's the first mature rated mainline Final Fantasy game in history, and that you could tell in the trailer they were going all out on that. It's been made by Creative Business Division Unit 3, which is the people who make Final Fantasy 14. But this is not an MMO, and this is not a co-op game or anything like that. This is a single-player mainline Final Fantasy story. It looks really good. The combat is made, I think, by the guy who does. We believe is the guy who did Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry 5. So the combat looks really fluid and nice, and it's another action game, which I know a lot of people aren't too fond of because they kind of don't like this whole move towards action that Square Enix has done with Final Fantasy. Personally, I think it looks fucking great. I have no complaints with the way it's going. It looks really nice and rapid, and like it will take your interest. Story-wise, it's very medieval-esque. which is a lot of people are saying it's kind of like going back to Final Fantasy roots. So a lot of people are really excited for that. The one thing I want to know right now is I believe it's going to be PS5 exclusive, at least for the first year. But I
No.
but I'm really hoping it's not, and it's going to be a game that I can get on PS4, because right now PS5s don't exist, and I refuse to believe they do. There's a website for it, and I've already been to the website. I've read up all the lore that the website has said about and stuff like that. So this is a game that. So if I can get it on PS4, I'll get it the moment it comes out. If I can get it on PS5, then I might just have to murder someone to get a PS5 to get it the moment it's out. But we'll see what happens. I'm trying to get a PS5. It's just a matter of I have the money. It's just a timing kind of thing. I can't really say too much more about Final Fantasy 16 other than if you've got the free time again, it's a trailer that I'd tell you to watch. But unlike the first one that it suggested, which was for the memes, this one is really worth a watch. Like even if you're not a big Final Fantasy fan, like go watch it and see if it interests you. It's the first game that they're not really trying to step out their comfort zone with graphics, because usually like Square Enix are always really good with that. Is they'll always like take a big leap with graphics, and sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it can be a big miss because they focus so hard on graphics they fuck up like crazy with everything else, which is what happened with 15. Now with 16, they're focusing on getting a game out in its full finished form, even if it means sacrificing a bit of like what people expect as the ingenuity of Final Fantasy. But yeah, that's definitely that is top list kind of what I'm looking forward to. Like that's the whole reason I want a PS5. Like if it wasn't for the fact that it's a PS5 exclusive, I would have moved to PC probably. But because this is an exclusive to PS5, I'm getting a PS5. And then obviously, if anyone is here who has been watching me on anything else I've done, they will know what's coming as my most
I know.
excited game.
I know.
You
I
what?
think. I think I know which game.
Yes. I am most excited out of anything we said on the list for Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. And news on that, we actually got some more information about that just this morning. We got the benchmark
Shock.
trailer. What? we got the benchmark trailer, which means that people will be able to test it on their PC and see if their PC can run it. We saw a few new action abilities. We've seen artifact armor. We don't know much about the new battle systems, but we found out that a lot of other systems that they've been working on are really good for it. So that I'm really excited to see. There's not much really more that I can say about Endwalker that you can't just go watch one of our previous podcasts and say like it needed to be mentioned because this is talking about games that we're excited for. But honestly, if you don't hear me enough in this video, go watch any other fucking video we've done. I can guarantee you at least 5 times in that video I will have spoken about Endwalker of Final Fantasy 14 at some point. Like, this is the game for me. This is one I'll definitely be streaming, although I will be streaming in emojis only, because if anyone else has done it or has read someone else who's done it and spoils anything for me, I will literally find where you live and kill you. Don't you dare. But yeah, so that's coming. November 23rd is the official release date, but for people with early access, because they pre-ordered, like I obviously did, that's on the 19th of November. As far as information about it, if you need any information, there's plenty about. Go look up the live letter, go to Square Enix site, go on YouTube and search Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. You will find plenty. And props to FF14 right now. It is doing really well. Apparently, they've sold triple the amounts of pre-orders for Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker when they sold for Shadowbringers, and Shadowbringers was already record breaking for Final Fantasy 14. So they've done really well this time round. And obviously, there's a lot of big streamers and stuff like that who are moving over to 14 recently. The most famous being probably Asmongold, is moving over from World of Warcraft. Well, he's not moving over, but he's trying out Final Fantasy 14, is playing 14 as well now as just World of Warcraft. So that's a big, publicity thing for Final Fantasy 14 right now.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's obviously not a lot more games that I can really speak about until we get more information further in the year. I was just looking at chat. I made that mistake. So we've gone pretty well considering we were both a bit not feeling great for this episode.
Yeah.
I will talk if you've got nothing else to add. Sorry.
Yeah, another game actually just crossed my mind, which I'm also looking forward to. It will be coming late in this year. It's Dying Light 2, which is a zombie game, and I love zombies.
Yeah, my housemate is pretty. I wouldn't say hyped, but that's a game that I think he'll enjoy a lot because he loved Dying Light 1.
Yeah.
I personally am. I wouldn't say I'm on the fence about that. Like I'm not disinterested, but I'm not massively interested either. But that's just because it's something that I'll probably end up playing, just purely because my housemate will. I got a cramp in my toe. My housemate will probably want me to play it with him, so I'll probably end up playing it. But it's not something that it's not one of the games that I'd like go out my way to talk about.
Yeah. But it was just a quick game that crossed my mind quickly. So.
Well, for all of that, it's now on to our usual announcements. Obviously, we've got this episode of the podcast, which will be going over to our YouTube, and this is our 10th episode, so I'm really proud about that. We've been streaming now for 5 months. That's how old our channel is now, almost half a year old, which is really pretty cool. And at least in the last month, we only did the podcast for the last 5 months. Actual content, like gaming and stuff like that, we've actually only been streaming for like a month and a half, probably. Like we haven't been. I looked on our YouTube the other day, and like it was just like 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 2 months, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. It was just like a huge list of 1 month. So I was like, oh shit. So this podcast will obviously go to our YouTube. We're doing. We'll be uploading my episode 10 of Haven because apparently I can't fucking count and kept calling it episode 11 the whole episode. I really need the maths. This is what I'm meant to be good at.
It's because you're so excited. You thought you were a chapter ahead.
Subnautica Below Zero will be having highlights going up at some point. That's still in the editorial process because it's highlights, but we're trying to make them, a little more interesting, a little bit of editing pizzazz from Logix. That's taking a little longer than like our usual videos where we just upload them with no effort. Haven, I will be doing a mega episode, probably likely later this week, which will be from when I turn it on. I will be going until I've finished that. That will be the final episode of Haven. How that goes to YouTube yet, I still don't know. I actually talk about this, I believe, in the intro for the episode 10. But we don't fully know how we're going to edit that yet. It really depends how long I'm going for. Final Fantasy 14, I will be starting on my Path to Endwalker series, which will be me doing all the side quests for Shadowbringers. I've already started doing some Stormblood ones, but that won't be going to YouTube. The Shadowbringers series, however, will be going to YouTube. So for those on YouTube, you can catch that there. Kenna will start next month. Obviously, as I said, it's released on the 24th of August, and I will be live streaming that from the get-go, and that will be running from the moment I turn the game on until I go to sleep, because my intention for that is to play the whole thing on stream, but I am not willing to do it like an hour at a time. Like my intention is to fully go through that game. I'm really excited for that. So that editing, however, we don't know how long each episode will be yet. That will depend on what we decide when the series comes out. Um, podcast wise, we have another podcast planned for 2 weeks where we will be having a guest, hopefully, providing no other schedule changes happen. It was meant to be a guest we'd had previously, but he couldn't make it, so he actually put us in contact with a friend of his, thankfully, and that really has helped us out. And that person will be coming. I'm looking really forward to that. That's going to be about a run reborn from Final Fantasy 14 and talking about the different perspectives we all have as players who have all kind of joined the game at different points in time. Hopefully, Logix should be back for us with us for that one because we intend to have his opinion. Um, then, in other news, Logic has actually started streaming to our channel as well as as a streamer doing games. Currently only Destiny. I don't know if he intends to do any others, but he is streaming on the channel, which is good because for the next 3 days, as of tomorrow from now, so the 11th of July, I will actually be gone for 3 days because I have real life plans. So I won't be streaming for the next 3 days at all. So this live stream right now is the last thing I'll be doing until I get back next week. Slandy at some point intends to do some streaming on Pretty Casual Gaming.
Yes.
I'm assuming that'll probably be later in the year.
Yeah.
But
I'm still trying to figure out what to stream. Because I do have my own personal stuff at the side as well, so I don't want to put both things aside. I want to be able to work on both. So
obviously, as always, I'll be doing a ton of little streams here and there in between Haven or in between Final Fantasy or in between Kena when it comes out. The plan is obviously to get as much content as I possibly can to the channel. But I am not pushing myself. Like that is the big thing that I've promised myself I wouldn't do this time around. And I don't mean like I'm not pushing myself for the sake of the channel. Like I will not stream if I do not think I'm physically capable of doing it. In the sense of I'm not mentally ready or physically ready, I will not produce something that I think is going to be sub minimal level content. So hopefully, all things going well, I should still be streaming quite regularly. When I did my last Haven stream, I actually felt really good, even by the time I was done. Whereas before, it had been tiring me out a lot. Every time I did an hour, I'd feel really fucking tired. Whereas I'm kind of getting used to it now. So hopefully, we'll be able to do longer and better streams going forward. Obviously, the whole thing's a learning process. Other than as far as announcements are concerned, that's pretty much all we have announcements wise, unless Sandy can think of anything that I'm missing.
Nope.
So I will do my usual thing. If you are on Twitch and haven't already, please leave a follow. We are going for affiliate and we're actually halfway there now. So that's pretty poggers. It will be nice when we get that. It means that you will all be able to interact more with us because we will have channel points and stuff like that where we can make it more interactive and you guys can, do more on the channel to us. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on either and haven't to the other, please go there and follow or subscribe. Not everything goes to YouTube, but a lot of what we do does eventually go in some form or another to the YouTube to sit there so that you can go watch it if you've ever missed it. We have a Discord. If you haven't already, please go join the Discord. It means that once we have enough people there, we won't have to spam other people's channels to, gain interest to our content. If you're watching on YouTube, please comment below or like or dislike. All these things help us know what kind of content you guys want from us. I can't think of anything else. So other than that, I would like to say goodbye to both Twitch and YouTube. Thank you for watching.
Bye, everyone.